Hi guys, and welcome back from Carly at the Herbothecary for another lockdown edition of our wild food recipes. Today we are out looking for ingredients for our lunch and dinner. I'm hoping to find some wild mushrooms, some wild carrots, and some other ingredients to spice it up a little bit. Remember, with foraging, it's as dangerous as it is rewarding. So always make sure you're 300% sure of everything you pick. Check with the book, check the internet, and check with one of the foraging groups, as there are lots of people out there more than happy to give second and third opinions. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll get notifications of any new videos that we do. Always make sure you have the landowner's permission to forage. Avoid places where animals might have sprayed and pesticides, and only ever take as much as you need. So we're gonna go have a look around here, and then I'll meet you guys back in the kitchen. We'll get cooking and see how it tastes. And my main purpose today is to find some meals that my very unhealthy mother-in-law would eat. She isn't into wild food, so I want to try and make it as close to a normal diet as possible. So we wanted the wild carrot, or the Queenland's lace, for its help with urinary tract health and joint pain. It also helps with gout and supports the liver. So I want the root and those leaves today. Although I pop nettle tips in every meal I can, today we want them not only for their nutrient content, but for their ability to reduce internal inflammation and lower blood pressure and blood sugars. We were very lucky to find this beautiful batch of turkey tails. Now, I've only ever had them in tea before because they can be quite rubbery or quite hard to chew in meals, but we want them for their immune boosting abilities and their high levels of antioxidants. And we're going to try and mix them up with some sauce and hope that that softens them up a bit. Now, I wanted to find some three-cornered leek, not only for their flavour, but for their ability to help aid the digestive and the circulatory system. I found lots and lots of bluebells. Be careful not to mistake them, as they are highly toxic. But hiding just by the riverbed, I did find one lot of three-cornered leeks. So I do have permission. I'm going to pick some of them and bring them home for our soup. And then, of course, my favorite addition to every meal at this time of year is wild garlic. High in antibiotic and antiviral properties, it is very high in vitamins and minerals and tastes great. So before I meet you back in the kitchen, I'm going to go have a little run around for my usual suspects I stick in every meal. And then back in the kitchen to clean up all of our wonderful findings. Now, this is the most laborious of the tasks. Try to get them as clean as possible. Wild carrot will normally have a brown skin on it, but as we're going to be blending this up, I'm not going to take that much of it off. I'm just going to give them a good brush and get rid of as much mud as possible. Now, when eating raw, some people say that that bit in the middle is woody, but as we are turning these into soup, it will soften up quite nicely. So we have our well-washed wild carrot roots. I've separated the leaves and left them in the water for later. I've also got some three-cornered leek. As you see, it has very clearly defined corners. It's triangular in shape, and to me smells a lot more oniony than like a leek. And then we've got our beautiful turkey tail mushrooms. This part where it attaches to the tree can be quite hard to clean, so I'm going to try soak that off. But remember, you want them white underneath with those tiny little hole spores that you can see if you look closely. And then I have my bags of the mixed greens with the nettle tips and bits in. Now, I did find that cleaning up these mushrooms became quite laborious, so instead, as you can see, this one's quite yellow, but we have a nice white one there. So what I'm going to do is cut the bark bit off for the minute and just use the rest, and I'll try clean them up later. So let's get cooking, and for our starters we're going to make two soups. We're going to make one with the wild carrot roots and one with the wild carrot leaves. So for the first soup I am going to make a wild carrot and butternut squash coconut soup. So for this, I'll use about a third of the butternut squash, half a can of the coconut milk, a big lump of ginger, half an onion, a garlic clove, some turmeric, and of course my beautiful wild carrots, which I'm going to give a rough chop as we'll be blending this up afterwards. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll pop them aside and do the same with our half an onion and then our ginger. I normally just scrape as much of the skin off as I can with the back of or the tip of a spoon, but today for ease I'm just going to peel this and we'll chop that up too. Then the same with our one garlic clove. You can add more garlic if you like the flavor. And then it's on to our butternut squash. Now we're going to use about a third at the top, as I said. Peeling these things is never enjoyable, but once you've got it done, just cube it. Now that the prep work's done, it's over to the pan and we are using organic food grade coconut oil to cook this down in. Now we don't want it to get too hot as we don't want all the nutrients and vitamins to cook off. So once that is melted, we are going to add in our onions. You can cook them till translucent, however I like mine to brown off a bit as I like the flavor in my soup. Once those have gone translucent or as far as you want them, you can then add in your ginger and then your garlic, and then I add in a healthy amount of turmeric because it's really healthy for you and I really enjoy the taste. Stir frequently for the next 3 to 4 minutes while the onions, ginger and garlic soak up all that beautiful turmeric, and then in goes the wild carrots and the butternut squash. I added half a can of the coconut milk and 2/3 of a cup of water. Allow it to simmer on low for 20 to 30 minutes, stirring frequently. And while that's doing its thing, we're going to get on to soup number 2. And this time we will use those wild carrot greens to make a wild carrot and 3-cornered leek soup. So the extra greens we're adding are the dandelion root, the garlic mustard, we've got the 3-cornered leeks, we've got some plantain, some lemon balm from my garden, some nettle tips, and those wild garlic leaves. And I'm actually going to trim the thicker shoots of the wild garlic leaves and the 3-cornered leek shoots, the white bit at the bottom, and I'm going to use that instead of garlic in the beginning of the recipe. And of course the star of our show, those beautiful young wild carrot leaves. So over at the chopping board, we are going to give those thicker wild garlic shoots and the 3-cornered leek shoots a chopping. Now we're going to chop them more like spring onions, then finely. And then we'll pop these aside as they're going in first and separate to everything else. We're then going to give our wild carrot leaves a good chop too. Pop them aside separately too. Then rinse and repeat with the wild garlic and the 3-cornered leeks. And then finally the rest of the leaves. Now remember, the nettles can still sting at this point, so either wear a thick glove while cutting or just do what I do and chop them without holding them until you've destroyed all the hairs. But don't worry, the rest will be destroyed once it's cooked. Now it's over to the pan, and I'm using just a bit of olive oil this time as it has very little flavor and I don't want anything to flavor the soup. And then while that's heating up, we're just going to chop up half an onion. We'll chuck that in and let that start browning off. Once they're translucent, we can pop in those wild garlic and 3-cornered leek shoots that we cut up. Stir them in and let them all cook down for a minute. Once the onions are nice and translucent and the root bits are nice and soft, I pop in about 750 mils of water, and then I add in with my leaves. So we've got our garlic and our 3-cornered leek. I'm then going to add in the rest of the mixed leaves that we picked, and then last but not least, those beautiful carrot tops. Give it a good stir and allow it to simmer for around 15 minutes, stirring continuously until the water has thickened. Then add about 15 mils of lemon juice, as it really brings the flavor out. Now over at our other soup, our butternut and our roots are nice and soft, so we're going to pop both of these through the blender and then we're going to serve them up. So we have the beautiful green leaf soup and the carroty coconut and squash soup. We're just going to top that with a little swirl of the coconut cream and then one of the leaves of the carrot tops on each. Serve it up with fingers crossed and hopefully she'll love it. And we're going to get on to the main course. For the main, I intend to make a masala mushroom interpretation dish using those turkey tail mushrooms, but no masala is complete without a garlic naan. So I'm going to use the nettle tips, cut them finely, and those wild garlic leaves that we have. I'm going to cut off the ends because I want to use them with some regular garlic to put on the top. So I'm going to cut those leaves nice and fine and cut quite finely 1 clove of garlic. To make the naan, I used a cup and a half of flour, about 5 grams of a 7-gram bag of yeast, some of the garlic salt seasoning that we made, and then we're just going to add slightly warm water until that's all mixed in and you get a doughy consistency, and then it's time to add in our herbs and give it a good kneading. Adding more flour or water when needed, and as this is going to be a flatbread, I don't need to pop it aside and let it rise at all. But I will cover it with a moist towel and pop it aside till I need it, and we will get on with the main course. Now I have some dandelion leaves, only a few. I've got the wild garlic shoots and wild leek shoots, some fresh wild garlic, and a chili. So I'm going to cut those leaves up, cut them up quite fine. I'm then going to add some extra garlic. I added another 2 cloves as I like mine quite garlicky. Half an onion finely chopped. We're going to snip off about 1 inch of this chili, chop that up finely and pop that in too. And then I'm going to add a nice knob of ginger as it adds a beautiful flavor to the soup. Then over to the pot, and we are going to add enough oil to cover the bottom. With this I also have chili powder, turmeric powder, and some ground cumin seeds and some extra chili seeds. So into the hot oil we're going to pop our onions first of all, get them all nice and stirred in. Once they're a bit softer, it's time to add our seasonings. Obviously seasoned to taste. I like mine quite hot, so I added a lot of the chili powder and a lot of the turmeric. Once the onions have started to soften, you can then add in your garlic, your ginger, the chilies, give them a good mix in. And then after about 5 minutes, which I forgot to film, I then add half a cup of water and mix in the mushrooms and those leaves. And while the mushrooms are absorbing all those lovely spices and flavors and our sauce is thickening up, I'm going to pop some white rice in the cooker and allow that to cook off, and we will get on with our naan bread. Now our little ball of dough actually rose quite well while it was sat on the side, so I'm going to cut this into 4, and I don't have a rolling pin here with me, so I'm just going to use this bottle to roll it into a rough naan shape. Once you have your desired thickness and shape, you can then sprinkle on your bits of garlic and roll them into the top as well. Then we'll pop some oil onto our flat plate and pop this on to brown nicely on both sides. And while that's browning off, we'll serve up. So first with our rice, topped with our very tasty masala mushroom sauce, and then our naans on the side. The mushrooms had softened a bit, but were still slightly chewy, so I might cut them finer next time. Thanks guys for coming back to the apothecary. I hope you enjoyed this video. do give us a go, or give it a go. Comment below and let us know how it was for you, or any other meals that you've made from your forages. Again, like and subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you guys for coming back to the Apothecary. See you again soon. Bye.